Hey, this is Trolls from 8DO, and in this video I'll be demonstrating our magnificent Zeus drum kit. Zeus contains over 38,000 samples, so there's kind of a lot happening behind the hood. And before I want to demonstrate a ride of the core patches. Before I do that, let me just show you a little bit about how the interface works. There's sort of two parts to it. You got the first part here, which is sort of the main interface. You can click on all the different drums here, and when you select a drum, let's say that I want to tune the snare, you highlight it here, and then you get access to all these controllers down here where you can adjust the volume, the pan, the chord tuning, the fine tuning. We have it down to a granulate of 1,000 different tunes per note. You got attack and decay as well. And that way you can sort of get into tuning the different aspects of the drum. We also have this thing here where you can remap. This is a request by a lot of people that have their own drum kits and their own drum utility that they can remap as well. So you can assign any drum to where you want. And then you got 3 drums here, 3 different snares that you can select as well. And this is really the core part if you really want to get into the engineering. I would say this is sort of the easy layout if you just want to do your basic stuff, but this is where the fun really begins. You click on the mixer here and you get access to our mixer page. And up here you have our send, and that's if you want to send reverb, for example. So you have the master reverb here, but you can also send more reverb and different types of effects. You got the panning here if you want to pan your kit more. And down here, these are essentially the microphones. So you can see when I click here that it loads and unloads the different microphone positions here. But in this demonstration, I have them all on. So you can see that's 1.5 gigabytes. And that's not so bad, actually. If you think about it, it's 38,000 samples. And we actually pushed Contact to a degree that we had to start limiting ourselves because it essentially couldn't handle all the script. We have over 35,000 lines of code to make this happen. And the reason we have that is that down here you have our effects rack. You got spread, which is stereo spread, EQ, compressor, lo-fi, and reverb. And the magnificent thing is if you look here, the red thing here, you can essentially adjust that for each of the microphone positions. So let's say, oh, I want to have the spread a little more tight or a little more mono on the kick. You can do that. And then, well, maybe you want a little more spread on your snare here, you can do that as well. So essentially each of these effect parameters associate to each of the microphone positions here, and that's quite powerful. There's a lot that can be done with that. And also if you look up here, we have a plus sign here. I'll click on it. As you can see, that essentially means you can route each of the microphone position to a different channel, and you can open more advanced instances of Contact that have more outputs. And essentially this is great for people that are really into more heavy drum engineering, that you can send all the outputs to different compressors, whatever your plugin you want to use. But in essence, it works pretty well with this panel down here. You can really do a lot. And as you're about to see when I go through the presets, there's a lot that can be done just by adjusting these parameters. And in essence, that's pretty much the core of it. If you look here as well, we got our kick microphone. We got 2 microphones for the snares. We got 1 for the hi-hats, 2 for the different toms. We got 1 for cymbals. We got overhead, room, and trash mics. And on top of that, we also have different patches. A lot of the requests we've been getting are related to, well, why do you only want to have a bleed mix, or you want to have a full room and all that. And we also have that in the library. We had to make that as separate patches just because we're essentially breaking Contact, the limit of what Contact is actually able to do. But let me stop talking here and let's get into the wonderful land of presets. This is just one of the patches here. You can see all different presets. And I'll just try to load them and play around so you can get a feeling for how different and versatile this kit actually is. Let me start here just by using the default kit. And as you can probably see when I was playing, you can see sort of the different keys that get marked here when you play. And it's an awesome feature just to get an idea about how the drum is actually played and sort of to dial in. And if you want to see specific groups, you can see what people are doing if you're loading the MIDI files. You can also trigger the sounds down here as well. Let me try to play the next one here. Let's get some stadium rock rockin'. And you probably noticed there was a little bit of reverb on this one. And as you can see here, if I go down to the snares here and I click on the reverb, you can see that the reverb is on and it's set to the bunker. And as you can see here, we have right different presets as well that we sort of made specifically for Zeus. That sort of has the right kind of different vibe if you want to get into different kind of reverb add-ons. And again, you got the master reverb here. And as you can see up here, there's a different amount of reverb sent to the different microphone positions. But let's go back. Let's continue the journey into the wonderful world of presets. Let's go with a heavy set here. And obviously that one had a little more compression. If you're interested, let's say that you're in Kontakt 5, for example, and you want to use the transient designer. I'm only in Kontakt 4 here, but you can always go into insert effects, and then you can just start adding your own effects to it as well. And you can bypass or activate the different effects here as well. But there's so much more that can be done behind the hood here as well. So it's quite excellent in that way. Let's try the funk off here. And as you probably heard, there's some claps going on as well. We have like snaps and claps and a lot of auxiliary stuff, and our snares with snares off. Let me also try, we have sort of a dubstep inspired kit here, the Robin Dub. It's great, a lot of dubstep stuff is using real kits behind it, and we sort of try to create the ideal kit for the dubstep. And I should probably mention here that there's no effects added. Everything you're hearing is straight out of the box here, using all the internal effects in Kontakt. And obviously, if you really want to get into it, we always recommend using external effects as well. The Kontakt effects can only take you so far. But that's why it's great with the channel mixers here that you can assign them to different outputs if you want to get into all that stuff and really make super kits. Let me also try, we have another one here, a new school kit, a little more funky, but more modern funky sound. Let's load another preset patch here. This is our bonus patch, so it has a little more abstract type of kits. There's some pretty amazing ones in here. I'll try to go through them. So it's a little more abstract. We're trying to take the kit and sort of push it outside the normal realm of drums. But there's some excellent sounding stuff here. Check it out. You might be wondering, what's that weird kind of reverby kind of sound? And as you can see here, everything was loaded. Some of the channels here were just loaded through our alien convolution reverb as well. So that's how you can do that if you really want to dial in more sort of abstract sounds. Let's try the jungle here. And as you can probably see on this one, you can see the tune is really up here on the snare, like a lot of different elements. It's so easy. I mean, if you just want to tune one of these things, you just click out of here and then you can dial it in here wherever you want. And that's pretty much it. Let me try another kit here as well, the Hit Me. Let me also try this last one here. We got an epic tom, so essentially trying to make the drum kit as epic as possible. You can do some pretty cool stuff by tuning the elements. If you notice here that these guys are tuned notably down as well, so a lot of things you can do. And I think that's pretty much it. There's just a couple more things I want to show you. If you click here on the left and right, you can change and reverse the stereo perspective. Oh yeah, and let me show you this as well. We actually have, if you notice, this one up here is 1.5 gigs. And we also have a lighter kit here that doesn't have as many round robin and velocity layers, but it's phenomenal sounding. It sounds pretty much like the first one. There's a little few details here and there lacking, but for the most part, it really does the job. And if you click here on the mixer as well, if you need to limit here, let's say that you want to remove the trash, which is sort of distorted microphone. Maybe you want to remove some of the toms, and you can sort of start, you can get it down there if you don't have RAM enough. But for a library that contains 38,000 samples and over 35,000 lines of code, this is pretty amazing. And I think it's the first time we've ever seen a drum library of this magnitude running so effectively. If you watch my CPU parameters, barely anything happening here. So it's really a testament to us trying to push the bar, but in an effective way as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little Zeus presentation. We'll see you in the next one.